Real estate team here, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate Company. Every week, every Wednesday, we jump on here, kind of go over what the market's done over the last week and keep you guys informed on making informed decisions and how we can help you throughout the process and coach you along the way. So with me here is Russ Williams with Williams Mortgage. So he'll be kind of covering everything that has to do with the mortgage industry and keep you up to date on what the rates are doing and all the interesting stuff. He's kind of the numbers guy, so he keeps good track of that stuff. So. But let's jump straight into our graphics here. Oh.
Mark should be right back. So while we're waiting on Mark to come back, I'll give you a bit of an update on the mortgage market. We did see interest rates tick up just a little bit from where they were just last week. And we continue to see some volatility, which probably will be the order of the day moving into probably the fourth quarter for that matter. Part of that is because the Fed is kind of in uncharted waters and how they're starting to bleed off their balance sheet. They started in June. And so we've been seeing some volatility as the extra supply of bond debt for investors is on the market, which can impact demand because supply, of course, is increased. Other things that might be interesting for you to know is that just in the last couple of days here, Zillow and Pulsenomics did release their home price expectation survey. And they're projecting that home prices will rise around 4.8% on average per year over the next 5 years. So that would be 26% over the next 5 years. That's a big jump. So for those folks that are thinking they might want to wait to purchase a home until later when the home prices drop, 100 of the or to 150 of the top economists in the country are suggesting they don't think that's going to happen. They think that home prices are going to continue to rise. Also, the majority of those economists are now saying, in fact, almost 3 out of 4 are saying that they do think we won't have a soft landing in the economy and that we likely will hit a recession. Why that's interesting is, of course, by definition, a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative gross domestic product, negative GDP. We know that the first quarter of 2022 was negative, and the second quarter, we don't know what those numbers will be yet. However, just yesterday, the Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank lowered its expectations and its forecast for second quarter GDP from 1.3 down to 0.9. So that is an indicator from the Federal Reserve that they do see that do believe that the economy is starting to see some contraction and slow down a little bit. Interest rates again are expected to maintain in this range for a little while, but probably will maintain some volatility. So Mark is back. So Mark, can you hear us?
Yep. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. My computer just lately has been kind of on the fritz. So
while you're off, we discussed interest rates a little bit. So we
got awesome. Appreciate it jumping in. So, but yeah, so I get kind of right in what's going on in the marketplace here, and hopefully if I get off again, then we'll just keep jumping back and forth. So I think as far as new listings over this last week, we've seen our largest increase that we've seen in a very long time at 551 new listings that went live in the last 7 days. So as we see that the summer market is in full swing, new contracts written at 457. So last it's 100 more than the week prior. So we had 100 more people get accepted contracts on there, and sold homes is up over 650. And I don't think with my numbers that I've kept track since last year, we haven't had that in a long time. So, but that's great news from the market side of it. I'm talking to some of my clients. I know I have 2 listings going to be coming up here probably shortly. One is going live on Friday, an awesome ranch house out in Sunny Slope. But the right after the Memorial Day weekend and things kind of settle down, graduation parties are kind of winding down, if not all the way done. You're going to start seeing a lot more houses pop up on the market in that regards. And what we're kind of seeing just in general, what the marketplace is doing is, we're not necessarily seeing, one of the listings that talked to an agent that for our listing is going live in Sunny Slope. She had 5 showings on Friday, about another 10 on Saturday. So a total of 15 in 2 days and a 250, ballpark price point. And in that market, 3-4 months ago was 20 in one day, on that Friday, another 20. So we're not necessarily seeing that activity. I think part of that is due to some of those interest rates volatility going up, that purchasing power in that regards. But as Russ kind of got done saying, just kind of what the appreciation of what the economists are kind of forecasting, I don't think prices are going to be going down. So, if we can get into something now, you're seeing some sellers even, having home inspections come back to play, not necessarily seeing, buyers doing the huge appraisal gap coverages, because they don't necessarily need to, as far as there's not that much, demand. I mean, there's still the demand out there, but it's kind of spread out now that more houses are coming on the market. So if you kind of went to the sidelines a little bit over the last month or so, maybe, even though the interest rates are still high, there may be an opportunity that house listed at 250 may not be going to sell for 285, 270, depending on what the market is. And that's the other thing that, as with sellers, is coaching them for that particular purpose, is that you're not necessarily going to, want to just price it high. And then, pricing it is even more important today than it was, 2 months ago, because a lot of times people are just shooting from the hip and, we'll throw it out there and the buyers will run it up and la da da da. Well, there's a lot, your buyer pool is a little bit smaller, and houses are moving. So you got to price that house accordingly. And it's got to be in show ready condition. I think some houses I've gone into the last couple of weeks or so, it's almost like the agent told them, it's a seller's market, just put it on the market, and it'll sell for, a bunch of money overpriced. Well, all of a sudden you get the email as agents, survive the weekend, survive the weekend because you didn't prep that house properly or educate that seller on the expectations on what needed to be done or price it accordingly. So those are some of those things that, Champions Real Estate team is coaching you, hand-holding you through that process of what to expect, why we price it, where we price it to make it effective for you. And then we'll kind of jump in, kind of going, in that regards, but we'll kind of take a 30,000 foot view of what's going on in the marketplace. So in the Omaha, Lincoln, MLS, about 1,600, just a little over 1,600 homes. We haven't seen that number in a long time. 843 active listings in Douglas and Sarpy County. And then existing homes were almost got to the 400 mark. I remember we were just trying to get to the 300 mark. So in basically less than a month, we've gotten up to that about 400 existing homes for sale in Omaha, and that's all price points. New construction, sitting about 450, which is about right. The more houses are going in the grounds in that regards. Month of inventory, just about over a month. Your average sold price up a little bit from last week. I think it was about 305. Now it's about 309. So we're seeing some of those new construction houses, close, and we're seeing those numbers go up that were, people started building them, last fall, closing out prices and accordingly pushing those up with regards to that. So yeah, we're seeing tons of activity out there. I guess a good synopsis. I know Russ kind of touched on mortgage rates, but I think it's still a great time to buy and sell. I just had a staging appointment at one of my listings. It's going to be going live. Probably we were talking today, probably end of July, August. So that's another thing. If you're thinking of selling your house, my client today, she's like, oh my gosh, because she wanted to push off the staging appointment. Well, maybe we're not ready to go until August. And I was like, no, let's do it now. That gives you about a month and a half to get the house ready. And she's like, oh, I'm so thankful we did this today, to get that house ready. She goes, because if I would have got this a week before we wanted to go live, or 2 weeks, she goes, I would have felt so overwhelmed, and that's the thing that we try to tell them is like, hey, you can never be too prepared, to get that house ready. And then you can get it so we can maximize, the sale price. And it's going to be a great house for that buyer too. You're not just throwing it together. Then that buyer walks in, all of a sudden you're seeing a bunch of things. They get a chance to fix things up, repair things, those deferred maintenance items, and they're not just getting slammed. And especially if you have to have people come in, to fix things, they can't come in just a week. Sometimes they're scheduled and booked out in some of those specialty trades, be it the painting, the remodelers, all that kind of fun stuff. Even cleaners, we have professional cleaners come in and clean the house, and they still need about a month, headway on to get scheduled in that regard. So, so I think the market's definitely picking up. It's great to see more activity out there as far as new listings coming on, and I think, as you're preparing those sellers, they're getting more, not necessarily worried about where they're going to go. You have plans in place if they have to do storage or, even temporary housing or even renting it back or lease back, for a couple of days or just depending on every situation is different. So, it's navigating those waters in that process. So, but yeah, as always, it's a great time to go buy and sell a house. So we do have one coming up this Friday. It's a ranch in Sunny Slope, 3,000 square feet, just over 3,000 square feet, updated, huge flat backyard, got a garden back there, got storage shed. So look for that. We'll have that on our Facebook page, my LinkedIn page, all those fun avenues that we marketed on. So if you have questions, want to take a look at it, give me a holler at 402-672-7670. That one will be listed about 300,000. So it's a very good, affordable, $100 a square foot. So when people look at it from that perspective, great house, wide open basement. You can even add bedrooms down there too. So, but Russ, you have anything you wanted to touch on? I guess I didn't get to completely hear what you chatted about, but I'm assuming
you'll just have to trust me, Mark.
Yeah, right.
It's a strong market. It's a great time to be out there buying. For those folks that are on the sidelines thinking they want to wait, don't wait. This is a good time to buy.
Yeah. So, but so if you have any questions, feel free to give me a holler. I just put my number down there because when it kicked me off, I didn't get my name bar down there. So it's 402-672-7670. If you have any questions for Russ or getting a game plan together on getting your finances in order, give him a holler, 402-290-8936. We're happy to help you. Be it if you need to meet in person, via Zoom, anything like that. And like I said, the sooner the better to get that game plan going. Like my client said today, she goes, it was great that we got, a month and a half head start, having the stagers come in then now. And then if we need to have them come back, happy to have them come back and kind of do some finishing touches, put the polish on for those listings and stuff like that. So, that's one of those things we do here, full service for our listings and for our sellers and even for our buyers, making sure they're taken care of. So have any questions, give us a holler, happy to help. And we will talk